Hello, friends. There's this fear I don't think we talk about honestly enough. It's this idea that if I don't push, nothing will happen. If I'm not working hard, how am I supposed to be successful and make money? Here's the thing, that fear isn't wrong, it's just outdated. These beliefs come from linear systems: more effort, more output, more reward. More discipline, more consistency, more results. But there's an important distinction I need to make. Those systems work, but they don't work the same for everyone. We treat it like a universal system: work harder, push harder, more impact, more results. Like they're universally optimal and that they're going to work for everyone. But that's exactly where so many people start self sabotaging. Whenever I force something, so content, collaborations, offers, pushing anything, I get worse output. If I've, sat down to record this and I was coming from a place of like, "Ugh, I really don't want to do this, but this is what I should be doing," and I forced myself to do it, it's never going to perform as well as if I sat down from a place of like, yes, I need to share this message. There's also whenever I feel pressure, any kind of pressure from anyone or just from myself, it shuts me down. It does not make me perform better. Yes, I need some little fire in my butt to get things done. But if it's pressure coming from just needing to show up in a certain way, to say the right thing, to show certain results, it doesn't actually make me perform better because I'm so in my head trying to perfect it that I end up not putting out my best work. So my point here is it's not so much a mindset thing. Like, if only I could push a little harder, if only I had a little more drive. That is not it at all. It's that you're able to recognize the patterns that keep happening. I noticed every time I was pushing myself, I wasn't getting the results I wanted. Recognizing that pattern was the key to unlocking, okay, well, what does work for me, and trying a different way. Only producing content and episodes when my energy is there was really the key to this. But it's a little different for everyone. So what works for me might not work for you, but it's being open enough to understanding that universal trends of hustling, working harder, pushing through, bring success isn't necessarily true for everyone. So the question isn't, how could I be successful and make money without pushing? What I want you to be asking yourself is, what kind of effort actually works for me? What do I need to do to get the results I want to be successful and not just keep following other people's advice? This question is so important because pushing, pressure, doing what you think you should do, what you're supposed to do, is not the same thing as working. When you push, it's like aiming for a goalpost that has already moved. You're still running down the field trying to make that goal. But when you're pushing, you start losing sight of what's actually going on. And guess what? That post actually moved 20 feet that way, but you're so focused on pushing through that, oops, you're actually going in the wrong direction and you notice too late. Or you notice, but oh shit, now I gotta run this way and exert more energy to get to the goal. So pushing is about overriding these signals that you're not noticing because you're so busy pushing and hustling and trying to get more done. Where working is actually coming from a place of response and cooperating with the signals that you're being given. And what I want to emphasize here is you don't need to work less. You need to be not working against yourself. I am a firm believer in we are always getting signals from our body, from everything around us. But when we're in this push, 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 hustle, do this, do that, constant overload, you're missing these signals to guide you in the right direction. To stop working against yourself, it's not about doing less. What I'm talking about is that your energy decides how you work, not if you work. It's about precision. When you have more intention and you're not just pushing and hustling and trying to force things to happen, you're releasing the control. Your nervous system starts to settle. Less urgency, less proving. You're able to drop your shoulders and lean back and breathe. That alone sharpens your signals to pay attention to what's going on around you. It allows you to notice when maybe someone on the team is not performing at their best, and you catch it and you work with them to course correct. It's about noticing your own energy. That, hey, I've been a little tired. Maybe I need to step back for 20 minutes, an hour, maybe take a day off for once, because that's what my body's craving. Because I know when I take that break, I'm going to show up 10 times stronger and make a stronger impact. And when you start moving from more precision, the right people are going to feel it. They're attracted to me based on how I'm showing up. The more that I'm grounded in myself as a leader, there's less friction going on in my mind. You might look at my business and how much free time I do have in my days sometimes. You might be thinking, I'm not working hard enough. But it's actually because I've removed so much resistance that was wasting my time before. I have cut busy work, distracting me from what was really going to make the impact. So it might look like ease to people from the outside, but honestly, my business structure is set up to reduce resistance. And the biggest part of this that I think no one actually says is that to have that success, to have the impact you want to make the money you want to make and know you can make, you have to trust yourself before the proof shows up. When I made this pivot and started cutting things from our business last year, I had no clue what the hell I was doing. It felt so wild and out of control, but something in me was telling me to do this. And I was trusting that voice inside of me. And as nuts as that was, I really had nothing to lose. And I just had to trust myself. Because when you get to that point, there's really no systems to blame. That gap between knowing what I was doing and the proof that it was going to work is the actual work in all this. It's just trusting in staying grounded in my vision that took the most amount of work for me, because you're not letting that structure lead you. And I think that's what so many people get lost in, that we have to have all these structures and all of this set into place. But honestly, those structures are often what's holding you back. When I took down most of my structures and rebuilt everything, I had 50% less structure, but so much more energy because there wasn't all these things pulling for attention. When you box yourselves into those structures, that is when we feel like we need to push, we need to keep up, we got to keep going. But when you remove those walls, you suddenly go, oh, I could see a little clearer, and I could see what is actually worth my time. When you release the control, it's not about avoiding hard work. Everything in life takes some kind of work, if you want to admit that or not. There will be work, but the hardest work for you, where I want you to spend more of your time, is trusting yourself without the proof, listening to what your body is telling you and following that. And that is the work most people actually never do. They're so caught up in pushing, working harder, making sure the exact outcome happens. But that will never get you the outcome you're wanting. When you actually trust yourself in what you're doing without proof of the outcome, that is where everything changes. And that's what actually makes all of this work. That is when you're going to feel success, fulfillment, and you will make the money. Until next time, keep rebelling, keep rising.